Hey, what is going on, gamers? This is Dr. Redstone signing in to another episode on the channel. In today's episode, we're going over the last weekend's raid. Now, before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to the homie Ice-T, big shout out to the homie Jojo, as well as Root for supplying the screenshots for today's episode. I gotta say, it is absolutely phenomenal to see all 4 servers way up there in these leaderboards, as well as a huge shout out over on the Android Global to the homies Loke City, as well as Puppet Master, where we call home, over on the Android European server. Without further ado, let's get into these leaderboards. Surprise, surprise, we're gonna go and start this thing off over here on the iOS global servers, where they took the #1 spot as a guild, as well as a #1 spot on indie. Let's go and take a look at these guys. We got Touch Legacy coming at that #1 spot with 107 billion freaking points. Absolutely phenomenal. We got Demon Kingdom right behind them, coming in with 98 billion points. That is freaking crazy. Some of these numbers that they put up over here on the iOS global servers are absolutely insane. We got Pokemon Playhouse coming at that #3 spot, NXG coming in at #4, AU's Army rounding out the top 5. We got Blue Eyes Dragons at 6, Within Anyone's Reach at 7, Zero Dawn, it's kind of ironic, within anyone's reach on that one, because it definitely seems like Touch is definitely always up there. We got Loki's Raider coming at that #9 spot, and big shout out to everybody over in Creation coming at that #10 spot. Jumping on over here to the #1 on these indie leaderboards for iOS global servers, we got Permcent representing. We got Snipes coming at that numero uno overall for all 4 servers with 3.2 billion points, almost at 3.3 billion. Big shout out to him. We got Prime PS Itachi coming at that #2 spot, King Sandman at #3. We got the homie Bishop, big shout out to you, brother man. We got Flawless rounding out the top 5 over here on the iOS global server. Let me know exactly which server you guys are running on down in the comment section below. Jumping on over here, we got the iOS European server, and we got the Omega Guild coming in at that #1 spot. So big shout out to those guys. I have heard some things that Barbarians are no longer around. Most of them have retired. The ones that have stuck around has jumped into this guild, and they're definitely starting this thing off with a bang. We got Omega coming in at that #1 spot with 87 billion points. Absolutely phenomenal. We got Phantom Troop coming at that #2 spot with 79 billion points. Man, I bet that was a big push for those guys. Sunburst at the #3 spot, Chemical Warfare at #4, and Phoenix Unleashed rounding out the top 5. Jumping on down here, we got Less Dragons Rogue at 6, Revolution at #7, Black Wolves yet again always on these leaderboards, Dutch Helden 1 at #9, and Lucifer's Eternity rounding out the top 10. Jumping on into these top 5 indie boards over here on the iOS European server, we got Acto coming at that #1 spot with 2.6 billion points. Absolutely phenomenal on that one. Jumping on over here into the #2 spot, looks like we got a little bit of a duo. I want to give a huge shout out and mad respect for Pavle and Keenan for coming at that #2 spot with 2.4. We got Bye Bye Man coming at that #3 spot, 2.2. Yuki coming at that #4, and Keenan and Pavle yet again back on these leaderboards in that #5 spot with 1.7 billion points. Next up, jumping on over here into the Android Global, we got Twisted Freaks coming at that #1 spot with 98 billion points. iOS global servers definitely was not too far away on that one, and definitely we beat the #2 spot over there on iOS global. So with that being said, definitely proud of my server. We got Twisted Freaks 98 billion points. We got Death Knights Demons, big shout out to those guys. Now definitely looks like those guys are making kind of a comeback of themselves. Definitely a little bit of history there of that guild name. I'm not sure if it's some of those same people, but definitely phenomenal to see. We got Bloody Roses coming at that #3 spot, New Horizons at #4, Dark Vendetta coming at that #5, and big shout out to everybody over in Loke City. We're coming at that #6 spot with 47 billion points. Right freaking behind us, we have the Unseen Force, 47 billion points, and the Four Horsemen with 46 billion points. Man, that was definitely a run and a rush. Big shout out to all of those guys. We have the Terrible Bones coming at that number 9 spot, and Supernatural rounding out the top 10. Let's go ahead and jump on over here to the top 5 Raiders. We got Penichi coming at that number 1 spot with 2.4. Our homie Poppy, Loke City Poppy, coming at that number 2 spot. Loke City Reaper coming at that number 3 spot. Loke City Papito coming in at that number 4 spot. And a huge shout out to the homie Zeal, rounding out the top 5 over here on these Android global servers. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the Android European servers and see exactly where our friends ended up over there. I gotta say, man, it's definitely good to have some heavy hitters. Big shout out to the homie Rocket Man coming at that numero uno spot over here on the Android European server. Let's go ahead and jump on into this one. You guys can see we got BOP Family coming in at that number 1 spot. Big shout out to those guys. 70 billion points. Like I said, it's good to see all of these guys. The number 1 guild on all 4 servers have definitely put up a number of points, as opposed to sometimes you get a little bit less. German Underworld coming at that number 2 spot with 68 billion. We got KOK with King of Kings coming at that number 3 spot. We Stand United a little bit behind them, 47 billion. Puppet Masters coming at that number 5 spot. Big shout out to absolutely everybody over there with 46 billion points. We got Triple W Warriors at number 6. We got the Nameless Order at 7. Freeze coming at that number 8. White Wolves, yet again, man, always on these leaderboards, and Atopia rounding out the top 10 over here on the Android European server. Let's go ahead and jump on into this one. You guys know Rocket Man ran with us, so huge shout out to the homie and Puppet Masters. Number 1 spot, 2.5 billion points, absolutely phenomenal. We got Chaos Puppies, Grumpy coming at that number 2 spot. Big shout out to over there. We got Dark Matter representing Kings coming at that number 3. CP, we got Sarah coming at that number 4. Big shout out to you. And Kairos coming at that number 5 spot, man. Definitely representing right there, taking the 3 spots on the top 5 indie leaderboard. Absolutely was a phenomenal weekend on both servers. Was a little bit clutch on one. Definitely, you know, set that thing up for times 20 and hope that you get as far as you guys need to go while you're sleeping. So definitely was phenomenal over for Loke City as well as Puppet Masters. There's some talk about guild switching yet again. I'm not sure exactly where we're gonna fall on that one, but with Puppet Masters, man, coming in with this big old run, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be jumping anywhere anytime soon. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to smash that like button. Definitely helps me out more than you know. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, this is Dr. Redstone signing out. Thanks, YouTube.